All right, welcome back. Okay, so hopefully now you have all of the components, elements, ingredients, whatever you want to call it, written down for the system step, and you're ready to start dialing in and diving into these components so they actually work for you and they move the business in the right direction. Now, so the first step that we need to do is we need to take an element, we need to attach a goal to it so that we know what we want it to do and it's actually pushing the business forward. So, and that's called a KPI. So KPI stands for key performance indicator and is really just a fancy way of saying a goal in the business realm. Now, there are really three things that a KPI needs. One, it needs to be fairly simple. We have a lot of components in your business, or I imagine you do, unless it's like a brand new startup and you only have 5 or 6. But most businesses are going to have somewhere in the 50 to 100 components of their business. So we need to make sure the goals that we are going to attach to these components are fairly simple. 2, we want it to be measurable. And don't worry so much if it's not measurable right now. Meaning if you pick a goal that you can't measure, you don't have the right system to do it, it's going to take too much manual labor or time to determine. Don't discount that necessarily. That's a later step where we can dive into your systems and set that up so that we can measure the correct way. Just really make sure it is measurable though. And the third thing, is it moving your business in the right direction? Essentially what that means, and I see this a lot in the business world, don't let it become busy work and just have it be a component because you think you should be doing it, but it's not actually progressing the business in the right direction. So I'm going to give you 2 examples just to give you an idea of what a good KPI looks like, what a bad KPI looks like. So I'm going to take texting campaign, and let's say an element of this business is a lead comes in and we basically have one shot to sell that lead. It's either going to be they call in, they send us a form, we immediately reach out, we finally get in contact with them, we either sell it or we don't. And what happens for a lot of businesses is if they don't sell it, then they're just dropped. And it's like, okay, let's wait for the next lead to come in. This particular texting campaign I'm thinking of, there's dozens of ways to use text in a campaign. This would be like a delayed lead texting campaign, where if we do get in contact with a customer and they say no, then we can take that customer and instead of just forgetting about them, we can put them into an automated or a manual system that sends text messages regularly so that they have a chance of coming back. And a bad example of a KPI would be a goal of, if someone says no, we put them in this campaign and we send them a text message every single day. Okay, that's pretty simple. And it is measurable, but is it moving the business in the right direction? I would debate that it not necessarily. It could, and if you ask a lot of business owners, they would say, well, it depends on what the message is, you know. But we don't know. That's not really a goal. That if we just send them a text message every single day until they opt out or they buy, that necessarily means we were successful with the texting campaign or not. And it can easily become simply busy work for the company. A good example is a simple tweak is we want to have 10% of the people that enter this texting campaign to ultimately sign up for our services. 1, it's simple. 2, it's measurable. And 3, yes, if we can have 10% more revenue from people that are saying no here, enter a campaign, and then they ultimately come back automatically, then yes, that's definitely moving the business in the right direction. So that is a good example, bad example of a KPI. Hopefully you understand what a KPI is. I'm going to share a little bit the power behind KPIs, and then we'll dive into doing this for your business.